Hey YouTube, it's me Protogenius back with another fun paper airplane tutorial. Now today we're going to be making a Stearman biplane. Now the Stearman biplane was invented during World War II as a training airplane. This airplane was one of the very first airplanes that many fighter pilots had a chance to fly. After the war, many of these airplanes were decommissioned for things like crop dusting, aerobatics, and more training, but at the same time it is still a very, very good airplane. You'll see it at airfields throughout the world to this day. So follow right along and we'll make this airplane. So first off, we're going to make our wing. So we're going to go ahead and fold our 8.5 by 11 sheet of copy paper right here in half, this American letter style. And we're going to go ahead and flip this over, and we're going to go ahead and fold it the other direction, right in half. So now once we've done this, we're going to go ahead and fold into the middle, just like this. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to flip this around the other direction and do the same thing on this side. Now, once we've done this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go put our finger in this spot right here, and then we're going to go ahead and fold this over. Just like this. Very good. And then we're going to go ahead and open this up a little, and then we're going to push this over to this side. Right here. Just like this. Very good. Now we're going to reverse fold on this line, and we're going to reverse fold on this line, just like this. And after we get that done, we're going to go ahead and push this down and make our little house fold, and we're going to fold over right here like this. I'm going to just do the same thing on the other side after that. Now, many of you have probably already made one of my airplanes in the past. If you haven't, well, welcome to my channel. If you haven't, but if you have already made one before, you'll know this process fairly well by now, probably. So we're going to go ahead and get this line right here. We're going to reverse fold this now. And then we're going to go ahead and that should go right to that line where the point meets up with it, so that when it folds over, it matches up where it's supposed to. So you go ahead and fold this over now, just like this. Just trying to get this good and creased here. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab our top piece here, right there. We're going to fold this over, and then these little tabs go right into the slots on the sides right here, just like this. Now, for time purposes, I'm only going to fold one of these, you guys, so you can pause this at this point and go back if you need to make a second one of these, or as you make your second wing, because you're going to need two of these. But for time purposes, I'm only going to do one for now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip ahead to making the body now. So now for the body, we're going to take, yet again, another sheet of 8.5 by 11 copy paper. We're going to fold this right in half. And then we're going to go ahead and take this and flip it over, and we're going to fold the corner over like this. Now, as we do this part here, we're going to actually go ahead and cut this off right here. I'm going to grab my scissors. And we're going to nick this off just very carefully. Just cut this off like this. And make sure to save this because we're going to use this later. So, put this off to the side, and now we're going to grab this. And we're going to go ahead and fold over our other corner, just like this. Just fold that nice and neat right there. Alright, so we're going to end up folding like this a little bit. But, I mean, normally I would do this that fold, but we're going to do something a little different this time. So I'm going to fold this over. And what we're going to do this time is we're actually going to go ahead and fold over like this. And we're going to go fold the sides down on the top like this. Nice and neat there. Now you're going to notice there's a couple layers in there, so just be careful not to wrinkle everything too much underneath here. Now we're going to take this corner right here and fold this up into the middle, just like this. And then we can get the other side here and fold this up. Very good. Just like this. Now we're going to make a few kind of fun or funny little reference folds here for a second. I'll try to make this, or try to get this, make it as easy to see what's going on here as possible. But We'll see, the lighting's kind of giving me fits here. So we're going to go ahead and fold this up and over from the midpoint right here, and just kind of go along that line that we just made like 2 seconds before. And just go ahead and fold like this. And so now that we've done that on that side, let's go the other direction from the mid to the point, that fold that goes there. We're going to go along that line right there. So now we got kind of looking like this now. And we're going to go and we're going to fold along that same first line that we did again, but this time we're going to grab the top of the paper to make another fold along that area. So go ahead and let me push this in here real quick. And we'll fold like this along that same line that we used the very first time. Just like this. Now I'm not going to fold all the way across, I'm just going to fold past the middle line there. And so now this line goes, and it's going to, that line that we just made right there will allow the paper to have more space as it comes out off the top to make our top spars that hold the wing on. So now I'm going to do this on the other side now too. You can see it's gone across that middle line. Now this is what we're aiming for right here. It's going to kind of go over like this. And so we're going to push this down here. This is going to go over like this. Excuse me. And we're going to fold that over just like that. Just going to push that down and fold it over. We're going to do the same thing on the other side now. So we're going to go ahead and get our fingers up underneath here and just kind of push that up and fold that over. It's going to kind of make a right angle with that middle line, if you see that right there. And we're going to go ahead and fold this over. Now I'm actually gonna pause right here. So if you're doing the simplified way, you can do it like this. This is what's gonna look like on the cockpit. If you just stop at this point and just hold off until, or with this top fold area here. But this is what it looks like if you keep going on with this next process. So if you're having a hard time with it, you can just do the easier process, which is this one right here. And you can see how the cockpit goes back a little bit farther. But now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move forward with doing the other part. Now, we're still going to do these same folds like we do later on the airplane, but just I wouldn't fold past this part right here if you're having a hard time. But now we're going to do the more complicated version. So we're going to fold this line here from point to point. I just showed this here. Go ahead and fold this over real gently. Just like that. So it's parallel with that side line, or it matches up with it. And then we're gonna just be careful with our corners here. Now, if it gets a little messed up, you'll notice I'm not super I'm not a super perfectionist on these particular corners because both of them are gonna be hidden inside of another part of the airplane. But I still try to get it to look decent. You know, take a little bit of time. Let me fix this here. All right. So now we're gonna push that piece over, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna gently fold this over here, like this. And go to the other side. So we're going to go ahead and fold this over just like this. Sorry, give me a second here. It's fighting with me. So just fold this over. I'm just going to make a line from point to point here, right here, all the way up to that other point, just like that. Now later on, after we get this this next part done, we're actually gonna end up folding these over inside of the airplane. So now comes one of the more difficult parts here. Now don't stress out if it's too difficult. It was a little hard for me at first too. So we're gonna go ahead and push this down in here. This is gonna end up getting folded in, so it makes these spars thinner. So we're gonna go ahead and fold right here. Yeah, this took a little while for me to figure this part out, guys. So go ahead and fold this over just like this. And fold this over just like this. Now we're just making the reference fold later that we're going to actually finish establishing after we open this thing up a little bit here. Now this next part might be a little bit scary for some of you guys, but just bear with me here and we'll get it. So we're going to open this up now a bit, just like this, and we're going to go ahead and finish folding down those lines that we just made now, right here, right to the midpoint. Sorry, my lighting's terrible here. I'm going to go ahead and push this over now. Do the same thing on the other side. Just like that. And now we're going to make a little line right here. Hold on a second. I'm just going to make this so I can show you right here between these 2 points. Just like this. So the paper lays flat in that middle area. Now what we're going to do at this point is we're going to grab these right here, and we're going to go back along that same line that we established from before, and we're going to push this over just like this. It's kind of nesting these folds into each other to make it have a thinner part there. So now it's going to fold over just like this, and it's going to work good. So I'm going to push this piece down in the middle, make sure our folds are established good. Then I'm going to get up underneath this piece here, and I'm going to fold this up and over just like this, making sure that they lay down on top of each other so that everything's even with each other. Nice, right here. See, they match up just fine right there. So now we're going to get that other part on top of it. We're going to fold this up and over like this. Now, this is the part where we're going to go and reverse these back inside of the airplane, just like this. Nice and gently here. Try not to rip it. Just like that. Very good. So now our spars are going to be the same, or they're going to be a lot thinner now, so that the wing looks like it doesn't look as bulky when you do it this way, and I think it looks a lot more realistic when you do this. So go ahead and fold that now. We're going to grab the other side and push this one up inside, just like this. Nice and gently. Very good. Awesome. Now see our middle area right here? How it looks, it's pushed up and in a lot farther now. And so I'm going to go ahead and push these up and over, just like this. Very good. Now if you didn't go past the other point, it's okay. Now we're going to do the same thing as what you would do for the other one. And so we're just going to go ahead and take the mid folds. We're going to go ahead and fold these little ends here right into the middle. Now I'm only going to crease the back of the fold right here where my finger's at, not all the way across the whole thing, because it's just establishing a point that we need when we adjust the angle of this little spar lock. So I'm going to take this right here. Now that I've pushed that, and I'm going to go ahead and keep that back point locked, try and keep it at that same line there. That's where our line is going to go to. I'm just going to push the front up to where it matches up with the main line of the nose right here. Just like this. Just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of spin it a little right here, making sure that our back fold stays at the same point. And yeah, just go ahead and crease that down right here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold these back so that it goes right above that top line right there, where the front of the spar is. Just like that. Not bad. Now we're going to go ahead and do the other side right here. Just fold this over right on that top of that line. Just like that. So now these little pieces are actually going to end up locking up inside of the wing. But now for everyone else that didn't do the other part, we're going to do this now. So go ahead. For both versions it uses this fold. So go ahead and fold into the middle off the back corner here. So this fold goes this direction, and then everything else after this, we're going to fold in towards the bottom of the airplane. So I'm going to open these up now, and I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to go ahead and fold the same point over to that other fold we made on this other side right here. And it's a little bit thick inside of there, you guys, so just be patient at this part. It takes a little bit of work to get it. It's fine though. We're making the support the support ribbing inside that the Stearman would have, where the material stretched over it. So go ahead and push that down right there. Push it down, nice. Or the material or riveting. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and now we're gonna fold now to that other line that we just made on this side, just like that. Very good. Just kind of folding like this. Just being patient at this part here. So we're just getting our spacing right on it. We're gonna make a fold in the middle of these two. So folding into this line now, right here, just like that. Very good. So now once we've gotten to that point, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make a fold in between those two right there. Sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit trying to get it. There we are. Okay. Just like that. So now it should be right in the middle of those other two folds we made. And then we're going to make one more on this other side right here. And it's kind of hard to see it in this lighting. When I flip it over, you'll be able to see what it did. So we're going to go ahead and do this right here. Get our lines to line up on top of each other like this. Let me get this crease. It's good. It's thick right here, so it's going to take a little bit of work. Now you can see our lines here that it should match up with the tail when we do it. Now let's do the nose here. I'm going to go ahead and grab just a 1/4 inch. I'm going to fold it back at the tip of this, just like this. I'm just going to fold that back, careful not to tear anything, and just kind of make sure it's good and flat on the inside there, done underneath. Very good. So now once we've done this part, we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab, sorry, let me get this fixed real quick here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to our tail here next, after we get this, make sure our folds are good and established here. And you'll see how all these lines match up with the tail once we get it all put together. So for the tail, we're going to take, yet again, another sheet of 8.5 by 11 copy paper, and we're going to fold it in half the long way, just like this. And then we're going to go ahead and fold into that other line that we just made. We're going to kind of fold this back, just like this. Very good. So once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and flip it over. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, just like this. Just go ahead. It's lined up good. Here we go. So now that we've done this part, we're going to go ahead and we're going to kind of open this up halfway, just like this, right here. And we're going to go and fold this line over to where it matches up with that mid fold that we did, just like this. And we're going to go ahead and fold all the way out on that. And we're going to flip it over and make sure that we do the other side to where it matches with the one underneath it. Careful not to tear into this main point, just because it can tear if you're a little bit too quick about it. So go ahead. Now we're going to reverse fold this line right here, just like this, really gently, and push this over, just like this. Sorry, it's fighting with me a little bit here. Okay, now we got it. Good. Okay, so we got that side. Now we're going to do the other side. So we're going to reverse fold on this line. Go ahead and crease that down just like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to open this up a bit. And our tail, there's a little, if you look at it from below, there's a line on the back here that we're going to go off of where our folds meet up right here in this middle area. So I'm just going to kind of grab this, see right here, this line. We're going to fold this back a little bit right here. We're going to grab that, we're going to kind of make a bit of a V here. I'm going to fold this over. Now, I'm not making it match up perfectly with that top line that we did. I'm letting it kind of tip in just a little bit. You'll see here what I mean. So, here we go. Now, notice how the tail is not sticking straight up. It's on a little bit of an angle. I'm just going to fold this over now, just like this. And fold this over on the other side here, just like this. It's easier if you lay it down on a table to where you get your folds to where they match up just right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this and we're going to fold this into the middle line underneath, just like this. And these are the lines that are going to match up with the cockpit. It's kind of more for indexing at this point, but it makes it look good too. So we're going to fold this in the middle, fold it again, just like this. And after we do this part here, we're going to go ahead and do kind of the same process we did on the cockpit. It should be a lot easier on the tail. So we're going to go ahead and grab right here. And we're going to end up folding into this line right here, into the middle fold. Let me do the other side real quick. Oh, we got it. Just fold it into this area right here, like this. Right here. Now make sure underneath, you're gonna sometimes it likes to come undone a little bit underneath. You gotta make sure that these mid lines stay in the mid area. Sometimes they'll slide off a little bit and then it kind of lets things get loose. So yeah, now we're gonna fold to the middle line, or to the other line that we just made with this line. Right there. Or not the line we just made. We're gonna fold it to the line that was from when we folded to the middle, just like that. right there. That should go right into that area. Now we're going to take and we're going to fold in these side areas right here to where there's a line in that area. Right here. Just like that. Folds in nice and neat right there. Luckily this area isn't super thick like the cockpit was, so this one shouldn't fight with you too much. Push this in here. We're going to fold this over into that line right there. Very good. Alright, so now these indexing folds have been done. Now we're going to fold a line from right in the middle of this area, right between that line, in the middle of that line right there. We're going to fold right up to this, to the other corner here. Just like this. Nice and neat. Very good. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side to where they match up with each other. Just like this. Right here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take this and we're going to fold this into that line right there that we just made. Just like this. And we're going to fold it over again. Just like that. Now this is going to help the tail lock onto the cockpit. You have to have these folds. If you don't, the tail will just fall right out of the cockpit. So, or the fuselage. So I'm going to fold this up and over like that now. And now we're going to make a fold to where this line right here, we're going to fold all the way across, and then we're not going to fold to the very tip of the tail, but we're going to fold to where this matches up with the line right here. Just like this. Nice and neat. Here we go. Just like that. Right there. Now we're going to flip it over and do the same thing on this side. Start to fold all the way up to that point right there, and then we're going to make sure that this point right here goes into the middle. Right like that. Just like that. Very good. Now what we're going to do is going underneath. It's good to reestablish some of our folds. You don't have to reestablish them. It actually keeps the tail thinner looking if you don't reestablish the back of the tail. This front area, you're going to need to fold it like this to where it locks into the fuselage. But in the back area, you don't really have to push those folds over that we just did. I'm going to do it just because I'm making the lines look good here. But it makes the tail look skinnier from above if you don't fold all the way into the very end of the tail. But we need this area in the front of it. So, alright, let me do this here. Just get this folded over. Very good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Alright. Now, I'm going to fold this area here, but you don't have to fold that one. As long as the underneath area, actually, if you fold it too much, it will pop out a little bit underneath. It kind of springs it open wider because of it makes it kind of have more of a barrel shape. Which, for some airplanes, you want that. With this one, it actually isn't a bad thing, but if you want it to have a bit of a skinnier tail, I would just leave it the way it was. Let's go ahead and fold this now. And then I'm going to go ahead and fold these up here, right here. So they don't crisscross with each other, and then it makes it to where the tail kind of sits weird. And then, now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and open our tail up, just like that. Now this is going to end up going into the fuselage. This part's ready for now. So now we're going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to show you. This is going to end up going inside of the tail right here. The tail's going to go inside the fuselage, so I'm just going to go ahead and just slide inside of here like this. And you can see how our indexing lines match up really well now, to where it looks like it's just one continual line underneath. Now, I normally leave it like this a little bit. When you're doing it with the other body, the tail can sit back a little bit farther, so your tail can be a little bit longer if you do the other version of this, where it doesn't have the skinnier spars on the top of it. But go ahead and lock it right here, just like this. And you should be good at this point. So that's going to lock in there, and then when we put the wing on, it'll keep the tail from sliding out. It's going to be locked in there really well. So, alright. Well, now the tail's attached to the body, but we need to go ahead and move on to some of the other parts that need to go on here. So, by now we should have two wings. So, we're going to make some spars to hold those wings on. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this that little piece of paper I told you to save. We're going to go ahead and fold this in half now. And we're going to cut this in half. You know, if you're like me, you probably have hundreds of these little pieces of paper kicking around just because you probably cut so many squares off of whatever kind of paper you have. So I'm just going to cut this in half. I'm going to set this off to the side and fold that right in half in the middle, a long ways. Just like this. A lot of times I don't like to have the fold that is right in the center of the piece of paper from when you cut it in a square, because it kind of makes a bit of a weak spot right there. But we do need to fold it in half the long ways though. So I'm going to go ahead and push this down now. So I'm just kind of switch backing my folds here to where I'm making a really thin fold by the end of this. And so this is the main fold that we're worried about, because we're just going to roll the rest of the paper around this piece to make just kind of a tube. It's just a piece that we can use to hold the wings, to space them evenly after the wings have been put on. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this in right here. Looks good. So now I'm going to go ahead and open that up a bit, leaving that last fold still established. And then we're going to roll this piece over just like this. We're going to go ahead and roll that over like this, and then we're going to do it again like this, and again. We're just going to roll this all the way down to the end to where, yep, see that middle fold I was talking about? Yeah, I prefer not to have that if I can. So I'm just going to kind of roll this over until it's a nice thin little shaft here that we can use for one of the supports. So I'm going to set that off to the side, and I'm just going to make another one here real quick. Let's do a quick version of it here. We'll speed this up a little bit so you can see now I'm making that small fold. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to unravel a little, and then we're going to just roll the whole thing up to where it's all rolled up nice and neat right here. So we need 2 of these so we can go ahead and move on to our wings. So these go inside of the wings. So we're going to take our wing now, one of our wings, and we're going to pull it back just like this here. And you're going to see this point right here and this point right here. So the paper is going to have to be pushed in all the way up to that point. Now there should be a reference fold right here that you can go ahead and slide this piece right along that, kind of leaving it towards the center of that line. You leave the shaft on the outside, and the shaft piece that we were putting in is going to be more towards the middle, past that line. So we can go ahead right here, making sure we push that all the way in so everything is even. I'm going to fold this back now, just like this. And I'm going to go ahead and push this tab back in, because that kind of locks everything in place from moving. So we can go ahead and do this. The same thing we did on the other side. So I'm going to put this piece of paper right up to that line that we made. Oh, I'm going to flip this around real quick. Push this here, just like this, on that line, and right to the other point to where it's pushed up against it. And I'm going to fold this over, just like this. And now we're going to go ahead and take that, and we're going to fold it back the other direction. And the reason why we fold it back the other direction like this is so that it sticks down more into the middle area of the wing when it's matched up. So now that we've done this part, we're going to actually go ahead and make a little fold right here back on this area, because that allows our locking folds to slide all the way into the overlapping fold that we're going to be locking our spar against. Let's go ahead and do this here. All right, so now that top wing piece is about ready to go on to the top of the airplane now. So we're going to get our other wing here in a second too. So go ahead and grab this. Alright, so we got our body, and you can see our bottom tabs where the wing attaches, but the top tabs are a little different than what we've done in the past here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab these and our top wing, and we're going to go ahead, you can see this area right here, we're going to slide it inside of that area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo the tab. Just be careful not to let the supporting piece come out that we just barely rolled into there. Let's go ahead and push this piece up and inside like this, right here, just like that. And so now you're going to go and put it back inside of the tab here. I'm going to slide it back in that slot, and just careful not to let it pull back out again. And then on the next one, we're going to do the same thing, and it's going to get a little bit trickier as we go to put the tab back inside, because you're going to have to kind of get your fingers down in a weird spot right there. It's kind of small, so very carefully, and don't let that fall out right there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab this piece. We're going to very carefully slide this up inside right here and around this fold right here. Now these are locking folds that hold this wing on pretty well, so now we're just going to go ahead and take and push that back inside. So let's see if I can get a good angle here where the camera can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and push that right back inside right there. Yeah, that wasn't that bad. So now we're going to go ahead and take this. Now I'm going to kind of push it in a little bit better here. And now you see how our top wing's a little bit misshapen now from being worked on a little, so we're going to have to go and reestablish some of these folds here. I like to roll this out to the end of the wing sometimes, because this fold, sometimes you got to redo this fold on the ends, just because it has enough stuff inside of the wing now to where it wants to pull down a little bit. So now we're going to take our bottom wing here, and I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half, and this is where our two tabs will go into. So make sure they go into those two little holes there. Slide that on in there, and it's going to go right up to the bottom of the airplane. Sometimes the folds just you have to push it up in there a little bit, because it can get a little bit tight. So we're going to make sure that these are folded good and straight across like this. Now the way I do this part right here is I like to take and I'll lift the plane up a little bit, and I will push this piece, or I'll hold the wing exactly where it needs to be, and I'll look at the bottom, or look at the bottom wing right here and put a line right there. I'll kind of gauge it with my thumb and make sure that the wings are parallel with each other, and grab that area right there. And I'll take this and I will fold it under. I'll kind of roll it kind of to the side a little bit here, and then do a right angle, just like this. And then that piece we can push into this slot right here, and that holds the wings in place really well. So I'm going to take this now. You can see how it's sitting parallel. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to take the other one, and I'm going to kind of gently act like I'm doing that same fold, but I'm not going to establish it yet until I can kind of measure it next to the other one. I'm going to get this piece right here, and I'm going to get my lines to where these two pieces are the same size, to where it makes everything look uniform. Just like this. You might need to adjust this a little bit here and there until you get the wings to sit completely parallel with each other, because sometimes they'll camber away from each other or too close to each other. And once you get used to this, you can get that pretty close. You can get it spot on if you just take a little bit of time on it. So now our wings should be parallel with each other, just like this. And so now we need to work on that nose, I think. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go and grab ourselves a yellow piece of paper. That's one of the pieces I've cut off like this. And so I'm just going with something that matches the color scheme here. I know we didn't cut this originally, but I have tons of these kicking around, and it fits perfectly for what we need. So I'm going to fold into this middle line on both sides here, and then I'm going to go ahead and fold into that line that we just made on both sides. So just like this. Very good. Awesome, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and take this now, and we're going to fold in the middle now, just like this. Just taking our time here to make it look good. So now that little fold that we made, we're going to go to this middle point in between these two folds, and we're going to kind of fold over like this to where the lines match up with each other. Just like this. So it looks like that right there, and then we're going to just fold it right into, sorry, it's coming undone a little here. So I'm going to push this over, just like this, and fold that over. Very good. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just like this. You're going to push this over. Just like that. Very good. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold these ends in along that line that we made. Just like this. Doing this on both sides. get this here real quick. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold over this front area like this, to where the lines match up pretty well with each other. Now what we're going to do is we're going to round this inwards in towards the folds that we just made, where everything just got pushed into. Round this up right here. And this is going to be our front nose cowling that's going to be on this airplane. So these pieces are going to match up like this in the middle, and they're going to slide right into the fuselage area. So now that we've made this, we can go ahead and grab our airplane. I'm going to take this piece right here, and I'm going to kind of lift this up a little bit right here, gently, and I'm going to push this into this slot right here, just like this. Pushing it all the way down right there. So where the lines on the nose, they all match up right here. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now this is going to take a little bit of work here, guys. Just try not to flatten this out too much here, but yeah, slide this in here. Oh, it's coming out, sorry. Here we go. Push this down inside, just like this. Now we're gonna do a little, now we gotta reach inside of this area underneath on this cowling and pull this little piece out a little bit to where it overlaps the other piece underneath it. And that's what locks this onto the nose really well. So we're gonna take this, let me see if I can get a good angle for the camera here. I'm just gonna kind of lean this out a little and pull this piece up to where it overlaps, just like this. Very good. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side. Here, I'm just gonna sorry, I'm trying to get a good angle here. I'm gonna take this right here and just gently roll that back a little until it overlaps underneath. And now that piece should be locked on there. And now we're just gonna shape the nose a little bit. So I'm gonna speed this up a little here. This is kind of the fun part here, where you get to reestablish things, make it look really good. There we go. Awesome. Now we're going to work on our landing gear here. So we're going to take the regular landing gear from my other video. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go and check it out. And I'm just modifying the one that we made in that video. And I'm going to lay these over to where they're pointed straight down. Once we've got these good and lined up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to tow the axles out to where they sit parallel with each other. Just going to straighten this up right here, just like this. Now, for this airplane, I like to use milk bottle caps, and so this set right here has milk bottle caps, but you'll learn how to do that in the other video. So make sure to go and check that out so you can figure out how to make the landing gear here, guys. And now our airplane is done. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this airplane as much as I have. I have a special place for it on my desk where people can see it on display. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you do that by clicking up here so you can keep up to date with all of the other airplanes and things that I'm working on all the time. If you click over here, you can go ahead and see my latest airplane. Down here you can see the landing gear that I adjusted during this video. If you click down here, you can see some of the other projects I've been working on, you guys. I do other things other than origami, and I would love to share that with you. Make sure to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.